Welcome to MINDSHOCK. This is your host, Bruce McGuire, here with another logical analysis. This time on a flat earth debate. So someone sent me this video to do a logical analysis on, and it is Destiny versus John Zherka. A flat earth debate. Now, I've gotten a lot of videos like these and requests to do flat earth debates. Now, full disclosure, of course, I'm not a flat earther. I'm not advocating that anybody believe that the earth is flat. I am advocating logical debate using, once again, science, logic, and reason, not logical fallacies to support a faith-based religious belief system, even if it happens to be correct. Because if you're just believing priests on everything, that's not logic or scientific, even if the priests are correct. So that's the point here, and it is highly entertaining and educational to see how people regurgitate the faith-based religious propaganda they were taught, even if the final conclusion is true. But I'm not saying what's true or false here. I'm just examining the arguments logically. Once again, if you like the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Make sure you allow your device to let those notifications come through. If you like this podcast, hit the like button and share it across social media platforms. You could also check us out on Twitter, Reddit, and Patreon. Patrons do get priority for topic or true crime case requests and podcasters. And make sure to like and follow our Facebook page for exclusive content coming soon. All right, so let's jump right in here. This flat earth debate actually wasn't too long. Some of them do rage on for hours and hours, so it could be a bit tedious. And a lot of major fallacies are employed here, some of them quick fire, so doing this debate can kind of cover a lot of them. I might cover some more in the future. If there's a huge demand, I'll do a couple more. People keep sending me this flat earth content, and it's not that I don't find it interesting. It is very good as a mental exercise to just, people work out physically. You should work out mentally too, and also develop your logic and reason so you're not falling for logical fallacies and you don't get so distracted with destinations and conclusions, regardless of whether they're true or false. You're just picking different priests to follow, even if they are correct. That's not really gonna make anyone logical or scientific, and especially in these times we're in now where, there's almost nothing that can be trusted, so logic and reason are of the utmost importance to develop. So let's jump right in here.
5 minutes. Flat Earth. Is the Earth flat?
No, Raj. He doesn't want to do this.
Right.
He doesn't want to do this. This is the.
I'll do that. Yeah, we can do flat Earth.
Flat Earth topic. Final round. 5 minutes. Starting with John. Go ahead. 5 minutes. Good luck.
Destiny, why do you believe in the heliocentric model?
Because we've got navigation charts that have relied on it for hundreds of years. The sailors have relied on the Earth being round. We've got airplane pilots that rely on the Earth being round. We've got mathematical formulas, and all of physics is relying on Earth being round. In order to believe that the Earth is flat, you literally have to believe in a conspiracy that millions or hundreds of millions of people have been forced to buy into for literally generations, and none of these people have ever leaked or told anybody that the shit is all fake at any point in history. And it is absolutely fucking absurd that you think that that could be true.
All right, so this is impressive. Destiny has rattled off more presuppositions and logical fallacies than I think anyone ever has in a flat earth debate that quickly. I mean, he's outdone Neil deGrasse Tyson here in logical fallacies. It's amazing. This guy, Destiny, is skilled at logical fallacies. So, wow, a lot of presuppositions to unpack there, false dichotomies. It's just a straw man argument. I mean, if appeal to extremes. I mean, he's hit so many of these fallacies that quickly. So, well, let's tackle his first point. So, navigational maps relied on for hundreds of years. So, people, according, again, if we're using the official historical sources, which, again, you can check out the MindShock Altered History podcast series. Those are, of course, all under dispute because the victors write the history books. But let's assume that the official historical narrative is correct. There have been seafaring people for a long time. And depending on how far you want to go back, they thought the Earth was flat, if we're assuming the official narrative is correct. And they navigated with flat Earth maps perfectly fine. I mean, some of these, like the Piri Reis map, I mean, some of these older maps are just exquisite. And that one's even put together from even older maps, depending on how far you want to dig into the history of some of these maps. So to navigate, again, with all these false dichotomies, presuppositions, straw man, you could navigate if the northern hemisphere is exactly the same on the flat Earth map and the globe map. Okay, right there, it would work the exact same way on both. And now, as far as southern hemisphere, there are quite a few discrepancies. Once again, Captain Cook logging something like 60,000 miles, between 60 and 80,000 miles around Antarctica. So that would support the flat Earth theory if that is true, and if he simply didn't get lost and he knew exactly where he was going. So again, I mean, he was one of the greatest explorers of all time, one of the greatest navigators of all time, according to historical sources. So if that's true, that's a point in the flat Earth camp, or there could just have been more. I mean, again, without falling for black and white fallacies, these false dichotomy fallacies, there could be many different variables and many different explanations. Could be flat, could not be flat. I mean, on each model, you have multiple different scenarios that could account for this. So for him to jump on and just fallaciously claim this, because even if you look at guidance systems, I mean, I think there was a recent U.S. government document leak where the navigational systems were assuming that, it wasn't a leak, it was some manual, you assume the Earth is a flat plane because it's so big to navigate. I mean, again, depending on which camp you fall into, I mean, it really doesn't matter because it would work the same way on flat or globe. So I'm not sure, again, it's his cognitive dissonance, his extreme dogmatic indoctrination that is not allowing this Destiny guy to be logical and objective. He's just immediately jumping to presuppositions and circular reasoning fallacies instead of defending his faith in the heliocentric model logically, which he has not done with this opening statement. What else did he say? Everybody would have to be in on it. Again, I mean, is he that clueless about compartmentalization? And again, all these things, if they all work the same way on both, more or less, and only the top people in the know about it, then no, they would not all be in. And then, of course, his fallacious claim on the whistleblowers. There have been whistleblowers for all time. It's like, it seemed like at the end he would have believed the whistleblowers if they came out, which is, again, he's just being intellectually dishonest if he's presenting his argument that way. Because he seems to put a lot of faith in whistleblowers, and he's saying because there were none, that means it's not flat. So, which is, again, another black and white fact. I mean, this fallacy stack is one of the most impressive I have ever seen rattled off that quickly. It's just amazing. Nothing but fallacies right on top of each other. Fallacies, assumptions, presuppositions, these things are insane. So he didn't make a single valid point in that argument, and especially if a lot of these technologies work the same on a flat or globe model, then that would have nothing to do with it. So again, what an opener. Let's continue here.
So you don't think it's gotten leaked, and it didn't? I mean, it became popular in 2014. But you said airplanes.
Well, actually, that's another good point there. Nobody would be talking about it, right? Because if there were no leaks, because what was it, Matt Powerland or whatever his name is? He was an artist, or he claimed to have been an artist for NASA, and I think he was one of the first guys. Someone could correct me in the comments. I am not the #1 flat Earth historian. I think Eric Dubé came after Matt Powerland. Is it Math Powerland? Matt Powerland? Who knows? But he claimed to be an artist. He's a whistleblower. He said that these higher up NASA guys told him it was flat. So there is a whistleblower right there. And then there's a ton more. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean they're telling the truth. So his argument is just so fallacious on so many levels, but it's also demonstrably false because there's a bunch of whistleblowers. But again, how does that prove the Earth is flat?
Airplane that flies over a motionless plane, like Einstein said, the Earth is an observable motionless plane. Do you know what a gyroscope is?
So, yeah, I don't think arguing semantics is a good idea. So if it's called an airplane, so on John's point here, I'm not sure why he's choosing to argue this. It doesn't look good because fallacious humans naming something doesn't prove a model true. Because if the Earth is really a globe, but they thought it was a flat plane and they named the airplane a plane because of that, how would that prove a flat Earth? I mean, it doesn't really make a lot of sense there.
I know what a gyroscope is, but the Earth is not motionless. The Earth rotates on an axis.
Okay, so he's stating that as if it's a fact, but if we're doing a logical debate here, he's asserting this claim that the Earth is rotating on an axis without providing any proof. He's making a dogmatic statement of fact. So even in the heliocentric model theory, that is what is theorized. I'm not saying it's not true, but if he's going to make that kind of assertion, he should back it up with science, logic, and reason. He's not naming experiments. He's not doing anything. If he has that information, then he needs to put it forth. I don't know if he has it or not. Maybe he does have it, but not using it here when you're making that kind of a claim, that's just illogical silliness based on faith, unless he proves otherwise, because the burden of proof is on the one making the claim. You're not called upon to prove a negative. So if he's saying it's spinning on an axis, it's up to him to back that up, and he just made the statement without backing it up. Very, very silly look.
Oh, okay. There's 6 scientific experiments that all failed. I know what you're talking about, but you know what a gyroscope is, right?
Yeah, I'm aware of what a gyroscope is.
On an airplane.
What about a gyroscope on an airplane?
What does it do?
I don't know. I've never tried it before.
It measures the plane level to the Earth because it'll fight gravity, right? That's what the instrument does.
Okay.
So I'm wondering why you said airplanes when they fly 30,000 feet in altitude, and NASA says you can see curvature at 60,000 feet. Weather balloons double the height and don't measure anything. The only time you've seen a curved Earth is through government propaganda, NASA, or Hollywood?
I mean, so we can believe that every single shot from space is doctored, and every single astronaut that's been involved with that are all involved in the doctoring process, and none of them released anything. The reason why I bring up airplanes is because if you look at the paths that airplanes...
All right, hold on. Before we get to the airplane, let's discuss his massive straw man logical fallacy here. And false dichotomy. So he's saying either they're all doctored or they're all not. And what is this about believe they're doctored? The burden of proof is on the one making a claim. If you say you do something extraordinary like go to the moon or have these satellites that can take these amazing pictures of other planets, it's not up to someone else to prove they're doctored, although that's been done with a lot of NASA's material. Again, doesn't prove they didn't go to the moon or they didn't really take those photos, but they were doctored. So that doesn't mean they weren't of what they claimed to be, but they were manipulated. So it's not a 100% undoctored, authentic piece of evidence, which is self-admitted. So again, destiny is just reframing all of this presupposition, circular reasoning, straw man, false dichotomy, just stacking them one on top of the other. And also it's kind of hilarious because he's stating it with such religious devotion as if it's 100% certain fact. Because science is a process of finding the truth, not having fixed ideas. That's pseudoscience and religion-like, which is how Destiny is making his argument here, which is, again, not a good look for globe earthers. Which, that's one of the most hilarious things here, is that these flat earthers are just destroying all these globe earthers, but I'm not saying the globe earthers are wrong. So if the globe earthers are correct, it's just so amusing how the flat earthers having a wrong conclusion, if it's a wrong conclusion, they're just winning all these debates. That just makes it even more hilarious if the flat earth model is not true. It's just, it's beyond funny, but again, just as educational material in logical argumentation and logical fallacies, scientific argumentation, it's very interesting because we could learn a lot here.
That airplanes fly from one place to another, it's never a straight line because the maps that we see are flat, but the Earth itself is curved.
Right.
Once again, does he have, if he's not, these circular reasoning fallacies are just, is he really that clueless he doesn't understand? He's saying the Earth is round because it's round. It's just, in short, that's the summary of his position. He's not, because again, if it would work the same way on both models, then it's just circular reasoning fallacies galore. And again, black and white fallacies. That flight path can only work on a sphere, or the flat earther saying it could only work on a flat earth. Again, illogical.
Right. You said you'd have to believe that NASA doctors their photos and fake the moon landing. Wouldn't it be interesting if instead of spending all the money to go to the moon, they fake it and make $100 billion in tax revenue every year from it? Wouldn't it be
Personally,
a lot
NASA has
smarter?
been criminally underfunded for the past 50 years. So if their goal was to make a fuck ton of money, they failed miserably.
What? That's got to be one of the dumbest points I've ever heard. Raking in what, 50 to 60 to 70 million dollars a day? A day? That's a failure? I mean, that's pretty amazing. I think it's more than what Bill Gates makes. So it's pretty amazing, and it's, again, he's stating an opinion, but he is so ego dominated. I mean, he's just oozing. If you watch the video, he's just oozing with this false confidence and bravado, because he's been indoctrinated so strongly with this religious faith-based system. I'm not saying it's wrong. The conclusion might be true, but he's been so heavily indoctrinated, he doesn't use logic or the scientific method. He just has faith in these priests. Again, doesn't mean the priests are wrong. People always get triggered when I say the word priest, because if you're treating them as a priest, and if they are not using the scientific method, not all scientists are equal, to just, again, have these false dichotomies, black and white fallacies, where you're grouping all scientists into, some scientists are actually scientists. They follow the scientific method. They are scientific. Other scientists who call themselves scientists, they're not scientists. They're pseudoscientists performing scientism in a religious faith-based system to make money. As Upton Sinclair once said, it is very difficult to get a man to understand something which his salary depends on him not understanding. Because again, if this conspiracy is true, which I'm not saying it is, it's pretty intricate conspiracy if it's true. But if it's true, none of these people would just look at it critically. I mean, their job depends on it, their whole life. The amount of mental strength required to realize that they've basically been hoodwinked their whole life. Mark Twain once said it's easier to fool someone than convince them they've been fooled. Because once again, because of ego. Like, this Destiny guy can't even comprehend the possibility that any of this faith-based doctrine could be false. He can't even consider that possibility because he's not scientific. He's not logical. He's not objective. That's why all these globe earthers, even if they have the correct model, they're losing all these debates, mostly because they're kind of arguing like 4-year-olds. They don't think they could be wrong, which is, again, the folly of mankind. You can learn so much from history. All systems, all fields, all theories, they were once believed by masses or by certain priests, certain rulers, that, or even if they knew it was false, they paid everybody off or whatnot. I mean, you could see this endless examples. There's the tobacco industry manipulating tobacco science, the sugar industry. Some people think the same thing's going on with the vaccine industry. It's history has many lessons to teach. But let's continue on here.
That's firstly. Secondly, it would be cheaper to fly to the fucking moon.
Oh, real quick, to address the point with NASA, he said it was criminally underfunded. So that's his opinion, that somewhere around $50, $60, $70 million a day is underfunded. I mean, that would feed every starving individual on Earth. That would provide clean drinking water for everyone on Earth. I mean, that's it's mind-boggling, mind-shocking to think, because now some people think that if the Earth becomes uninhabitable, it's very important, everything NASA's doing is important. But if a meteor hits the Earth tomorrow and we all die, I mean, wouldn't it have been better to feed all of the starving children and eliminate as much suffering on Earth as possible? Because there's no guarantee that NASA, let's suppose that everything NASA said is true about other planets possible and happen. Like, let's say space is real, planets are real. Let's just assume, just for a second, I'm not saying that's logical to do so, I'm not going to back it up, just for the sake of argument for one brief moment, let's assume all that is true. There's no guarantee that another planet will ever become habitable, or that humans on Earth will survive long enough to do it. Where there is the guarantee, if all the money that went into NASA would have alleviated all starvation, all homelessness, all, provide everybody with clean drinking water. It's just amazing what could have been done with that funding. And this Destiny guy, he's just saying it's criminally underfunded. Crazy.
Than it would be to try to fake the moon landing. We don't have the technology to fake the moon landing. How would you even do that?
Oh, that's hilarious. I'm glad I did this debate. That's one of the funniest things I've ever heard. There's no technology to fake the landing, but there is the technology to go. By that line of reasoning, where's all the tourism to the moon? Because technology, we have Moore's Law. Technology advances exponentially. What's going on? How come nobody? There should be tourist trips to Mars by now if the technology really did exist to go to the moon. Now, I'm not saying it didn't, the disclosed technology. If they had far more advanced technology than they disclosed and they really did go to the moon. But again, there's so many problems with the footage. The footage seems fake, even if they went. Again, let's not fall for black and white fallacies. But everything that Destiny's saying here is just, I don't know. Like, he appears to be a functioning adult from the video, but the points he's bringing forward, I think there's 4-year-olds that could bring up better points. The technology doesn't exist to fake something. So making Hollywood movies about all of these crazy other planets, interdimensional travel, all this greater technology, it takes greater technology to fake something than do it for real? What is this guy smoking?
How would you fake the moon landing in a studio using the technology of the 60s? How?
Hey,
Well, the technology of the 60s. So he's saying there's technology to go to the moon with all this rocketry, all of the video, because they shot in pretty high def, and all of the transmission, all of that existed, but they couldn't have faked it on Earth? Really? So obviously the conspiracies, they got Stanley Kubrick to do it, someone who's had some experience making movie magic, but you could watch movies. Metropolis, made in the 20s. It looks, there's stop motion. There's so many older technologies. I think blue screen technology, was used also in the night, the precursor to the modern version, but they were using some very advanced technologies considering film was officially only invented in the late 1800s, early 1900s when they started making video film, and within 10, 20, 30 years, there was some pretty advanced, not computer-generated imagery, but the equivalent of using all of these different projection and screening technologies. It's quite amazing. This guy's obviously clueless to all that. But to say that it takes more technology to make a movie than to do something for real, I've actually never heard that one before. This Destiny guy is setting all types of records. Most fallacies in least amount of time. Most fallacious opening. And now with this the most ridiculous argument that I think I've ever heard regarding the going to the moon or not going to the moon.
Ow.
hey, yeah, and you're saying with the 1960s technology, they went to the moon before an iPhone, you fucking
Yeah,
idiot.
because in the 1960s, we
Holy
could fire
shit, that was
in the
easy.
1960s, we didn't have all the digital shit we have around film today. We
you're
did have
saying-
missiles. Listen,
you're
we
saying-
shot fucking rockets all the
hold
time.
on. So you're saying they couldn't Hollywood fake it, but they have the technology to go to the moon? Number 2.
That's right.
That's right. And both these guys are a bit triggered, although the John Zherka guy doesn't look triggered as much as angry at Destiny's stupidity and bringing up that point. Destiny looks heavily emotionally triggered because his faith-based belief system has been threatened, and he is responding. He has thrown logic out the window and is making these hardcore defenses, profane-laden defenses, because his brain can't handle it. Very amusing to watch. Again, if you study psychology in accordance with logic, you can see exactly what's going on behind the scenes here. And again, if he's right about his conclusions just because he randomly believes a priest that happens to be right, that just makes this all the more hilarious.
Number
Hold on. Are
number
you telling
two-
me that it's less
Holy
likely? Are you
shit,
told?
I
No.
love
Wait. You think that it's less
I love
likely
you, bro.
on
You
a
got
planet
clipped.
where we're already firing off missiles all over the place that we can't engineer a rocket that can
Yeah.
take somebody to the moon? But when we have
So he's equating, this has to be one of the greatest false equivalencies I've ever heard. If you can fire a rocket, that means you can go to another planet. So by that logic, they would have been able to go to any planet, not just the moon, because if you want to make the claim that you can make the jump from a rocket to going to the moon, how are those equivalent in any way? They've had rockets for a while before going to the moon. A lot of the major rocketry advances were done in World War II, but so how come nobody was going to the moon in the 40s? Unless you want to go to the really crazy conspiracy theory. I think there's a conspiracy out there that the Germans actually went to the moon. That's pretty funny. I think there's some evidence that they wanted to go. I haven't studied that topic deeply. We'll have to do a dedicated podcast on whether or not the Germans made it to the moon during World War II with the Ahnenerbe and their occult and all of that very well-funded occult research. I think there was a plan to go, although maybe it wasn't. Maybe they were doing some kind of channeling or wanted to teleport there or whatever. Because they were doing bases in Antarctica. They were doing all this crazy stuff. So I think there was evidence that they wanted to go, but whether or not they went or not. But if they had the rockets, according to this Destiny guy, he's saying if you can shoot a rocket, you can go to the moon. So again, if that were true, I mean, rockets are so much more advanced now. Why isn't there tourism on the moon? It's bizarre. I mean, they promised that decades and decades ago. If you go and look through, people don't really like to go through old newspapers and media reports, but and plans. I think SpaceX was supposed to already have moon tourism by now, and yet they don't have it. So if it was really as simple as extrapolating from a basic rocket to go to the moon or another planet, it would have been done. I mean, this Destiny guy is so silly. I actually was not expecting this level of silliness, because this actually might be the poorest defense of the heliocentric model and the moon missions that I've ever seen. I've seen quite a few. If you know of a more ridiculous one or even a poorer defense, feel free to send it to me. I will analyze it.
But when we have none of the digital technology required to fake hours and hours of footage going to the moon, then we wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah. You said missiles. Have you ever seen the trajectory of all missiles, all rockets that go into leave low Earth orbit? Have you ever seen that they arc? That's interesting.
How is that interesting?
No. I'm going to ask you the final question just to test your IQ. The most corrupt president, we can agree with the Watergate scandal, is Richard Nixon, right? So now, in my world, he faked the moon landing. There's a clip on YouTube where he talks to astronauts on a telephone. That would be a landline-based telephone. Talking to people 200,000 miles away in 1969. Do you believe he spoke to Neil Armstrong on the telephone from the White House? Yes or no?
Yes.
Well, you know what's curious here? He just believes it. He takes it on faith that it was true. He doesn't have any of the logical scientific backing. He just took it on faith. Again, the priest told him. Now, if the priests know it to be true, that's different. Destiny does not know it to be true through the scientific method, so it's just his faith that he's preaching here. But let's continue.
You are the smartest guy on Twitch.
John, here's a question right now. Ready?
I'm done.
Wait. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Yeah. John, I know you're listening to me. Walk into your house right now, pick up a landline phone, and see if you can call your cell phone.
Oh man, Destiny outdid himself there. That's got to be stupider than not having the technology to fake something. I still can't get over that one. That one's funny. It takes more technology to fake something than doing it for real. That's bizarre. That's really, really bizarre when you're talking about going to other planets. I mean, put up a green screen. Put up a green screen and you could shoot a video of being on Mars. I mean, why didn't they shoot the Martian on Mars? If it takes greater technology to fake than to do, I don't get that one. Okay, now he's saying that calling your phone from your landline proves that a transmission can be transmitted over hundreds of thousands of miles. So the moon is somewhere around 230 to 240,000 miles away, depending on at which point you're measuring it. Current distance is listed 238,900 miles. So having near instant communication over that distance is the same as calling your cell phone from your landline. Oh man. We're going to have a competition for worst globe earther arguments, because this one is pretty bad. We're going to have to do one for worst flat earthers. We got to keep this even. Nobody's been sending, globe earther, it's been mostly the flat earthers that have been sending me stuff. If any of globe earthers out there have some poor defenses on the flat earth side, I will logically analyze any debate, or any interview. Feel free to send me what you want. I'll be doing a lot of logical analyses, because this is endlessly entertaining.
Fucking checkmate, dude.
Yo, hold on.
Checkmate. If you could call your cell phone from your landline, that means that means a transmission can be broadcast to the White House from 238,900 miles away. That has never been done before or since the moon mission.
Hold on.
No. How does it work? How does it work? It's not connected, is it?
Yeah. No.
It's not connected,
I'll
is
tell
it?
you. I'll tell you.
Tell me. I want to hear it.
Right. 97% of all Earth Wi-Fi is done through triangulation cellular towers. We can both agree. Why do you lose connection in the mountains if there's satellites and stuff? Right?
It's because there's not satellites.
No.
pointed at the
Hang
mountains.
on. Oh my God, Destiny. You lose connection when you're outside of the grid because it's done through cellular.
Now Destiny's got like his thumb in his face like a little baby whose belief system has been shaken to the core. And I think the problem here is he knows he can't defend it logically. So at least his subconscious has recognized that he has no logical scientific arguments or debates, and it's been exposed as faith-based religion. Now again, it doesn't mean he's wrong, doesn't mean he's believing in the wrong model. He's just doing it he's doing it on a basis of faith and religious. It's just faith and religious ideology. Now that it's been exposed, he's very, very heavily triggered here and coming up with some of the worst arguments I've ever heard.
Through cellular towers and weather balloons. It's all on Google too. It is
all on Google. And I'm sure they've got special relay satellites that they have set up to ensure the communication exists.
Okay.
I'm sure they have special relay satellites. He's sure, but he's never defended any of his claims here on a logical or scientific basis. So how is he sure? He never, again, if a globe earther wants to make any of these points, they need to lead with the evidence to defend their position, because he's just making these faith-based assertions with nothing but fallacies to hold them up.
Okay.
Yeah.
You believe in the Mars rover. That means you believe in magical space Wi-Fi that sends photos 200 million miles away, correct?
Well, magical space Wi-Fi. Well, again, now a point against John Zherka here. If he's not familiar with the technology, that doesn't mean the technology doesn't exist. But once again, the burden of proof is on the one making the claim. John Zherka is not claiming it's true. Destiny is. So it's up to Destiny to prove it. But just because someone doesn't know how something works, that doesn't mean it's magical. It's a technology he's not familiar with. I mean, you could use that as the definition of magic, because I'm sure uncontacted tribes would think all our cell technology is all magical because they don't understand how it works. But he's trying to strawman here, which again, not the best tactic, John Zherka.
It's not magical space Wi-Fi, it's physics.
It's physics, so it's like he's just basically saying, invoking God. He can't explain any of the physics or how any of it works. He's just going to divine intervention here. It just happens to be God that explains everything. Don't question it. Don't question the priest. Oh man, this is getting rough.
There are frequencies that we can broadcast from really far away. How do you think? Wait, how do you think we see stars in other solar systems?
You're getting cooked. Can you please show on the Discord a picture of a star that's not computer generated?
A picture of a star that's not I mean, I would have to crawl into the fucking Hubble telescope to show you that. How can I possibly do that?
No, you said they took pictures. They would be on NASA's .gov website, right?
You can go outside when it's night and you can look up at a star.
No. I'm asking.
So, again, massive straw man here by Destiny, because they're talking about wireless transmission. John Zherka asked him for a photo from a satellite that was transmitted wirelessly, I guess, of a star far away or whatnot, whatever. And Destiny is telling him to go outside and look at a star, as if the argument was that the star doesn't exist. I mean, Destiny's not even understanding the points, and he can't even follow a line of reasoning. This is this is going down as one of the worst defenses of the globe model ever.
I'm asking you, the picture of the sun, is that an authentic photo to you?
What do you mean by authentic, John?
Come on, don't do the wordplay, please.
They're all digital images. The way that they're it's not like they give you a fucking Polaroid.
Right. So if I bring up a Google picture of the sun or from NASA, you would tell me that's a real photo, not a composite.
I mean, some of them are probably composites. Some of them are probably real photos.
So some of them are probably composites. Some of them are probably real. So if he doesn't know, why is he saying probably this, probably that?
Probably look right now, so we could look for real photo of sun or unmodified photo of sun, and I'm sure you could find pictures of it if that's what you really want.
I feel so bad because I saw you do a debate with a flat earther on your podcast, and it's on YouTube, and I didn't even want to go into that one. But Destiny, do you feel like you're winning this one?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I am. If anybody knows anything about physics, here's a question.
The no true Scotsman argument. If anyone knows anything about physics, clearly he doesn't, because he just says the word physics. It's just like saying God exists because God exists. Like, it's these circular reasoning arguments and this just religious, faith-based thinking. This is one of the most extreme cases. So, I mean, this is even worse than Neil deGrasse Tyson. This is bad. This guy seems very, very clueless on just even basic logical reasoning, the scientific method. He's just using the word physics. I mean, that's just like invoking God. How bizarre.
Question. Why is it, if flat Earth is real, why is it that the one nation that was competing with us the most, more than any other nation during the space race, why wouldn't Russia come out and say, hold on, all of this is bullshit, the Earth is actually flat?
All right, so I've answered this question before. This is one of the easiest to answer, but for some reason, and he clearly thinks it's a gotcha. Destiny is relatively bereft here of critical thinking ability, deductive reasoning ability, just the ability to see more than one puzzle piece at a time. It's the childishness is extreme, but again, would a church in another country say, oh, look, there's no God? So if the conspiracy is true, like, because that's just, he's positing here, if the Earth really was flat or whatever, if it really was fake, so we're positing here. But if the conspiracy is true, then why wouldn't the nations be on it? That's the whole point. The flat Earth theory involves the Antarctic Treaty in all these countries. I'm not saying it's real in any way at all. I'm just saying, at least understand the theory. If you're trying to you don't even understand the theory here, Destiny. It's really rough. And this one gets brought up a lot. But also, as George Carlin once said, you don't need a formal conspiracy when interests converge. So, for example, if slave owners on competing plantations, so they both want to be rich, they both want to, like, whatever, they're doing sugarcane, tobacco, whatever they're doing, they're competing against each other. They're in competition. But the institution of slavery is in both of their interests. So they're not going to blow the whistle, per se, on anything that threatens the system that they're doing, the fix is in on the conspiracy. So if there is a conspiracy, I'm not saying there is, but if there is one, it's just like, again, a certain religion or a cult, they're in different countries. They're not going to blow the whistle on each other. I mean, does the Vatican Church blow the whistle on any kind of scandals with priests or anything? I mean, it makes them look bad. They're not going to blow the whistle on each other. I mean, Destiny, come on. This is such a basic topic. And this gets brought up all the time. I really don't know why people have such trouble with this. If you have a team of serial killers or a mafia outfit, and you can't trust any of the mobsters because they would cover for each other in the best interest of the mob as a whole. So again, we could take a religious example. When the American church says God is real, so what if they're lying? Are you going to default to, well, what about a Russian church or a Brazilian church? So it's really silly to do these faith-based appeal to authority arguments because, again, you would say that Russia is this grand moral compass that would blow the whistle. Why would it be? So if all the space programs are in it, what would you expect them to do? I mean, that's really silly to assume that NASA would be the only one perpetrating the conspiracy if it would be easily debunked by other space agencies. How is that logical in any way? If the conspiracy is true, obviously, it wouldn't be a lone space agency knowing that they would be easily debunked by other space agencies doing it. They would all have to be in on it. So that's the problem. Most people are so illogical, they think considering an alternate position to their indoctrinated faith is the same as believing it. So again, don't believe in the flat earth without any proof, but real science is objective and neutral. So a grand conspiracy of this scale would require all space agencies to be complicit. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. So again, not saying it's true in any way, but even serial killers aren't always guilty of every single murder they are accused of. But are you going to take their word for it? So are you going to accept their evidence and be convinced? Or one of the serial killer's friends in another country, if they all have a network that they're dependent on, are they going to blow the whistle on each other? So Again, clearly this is all probably way beyond Destiny's mental capacity. But for the listeners out there, especially the MindShock listeners, they'll understand.
Yeah, so since the dawn of time, pharaohs have chilled with pharaohs and made fake wars just to keep the working class.
Pharaohs have chilled with pharaohs. I like John Zherka's argument there. I did not see that one coming.
Class always kind of fighting each other. If you look at it, the Antarctic Treaty is signed by 57, 52 different countries. So nobody can go in Antarctica unless it's a government kind of like thing. But it's militarized for a reason. It's the only treaty not broken for a reason. If this treaty has been held up this long, it proves that the Earth, they work together. The Cold War is a fugazi.
So why is it that when the Soviet Union was on the verge of collapse, when they were competing all over the world, you're saying we work together while we've got things like we've got Germany divided by the fucking Berlin Wall, we've got all these proxy conflicts going around the world.
So it looks like he didn't understand anything you just said. He's saying that's all a show, and if that's true, then it would work that way. And Destiny responds with all these different scenes in the show. He's saying the thing is a theatrical play. Why are you bringing up different scenes in the play if the thing is a play? At least understand the argument.
The U.S. starts like, oh, we're going to collapse, but we're not going to take America down with us. We're not going to reveal anything about Planet.
What I'm saying is the Federal Reserve, which they print money, is not regulated. It's higher than government. So there are people who own a lot more than countries.
First of all, that's not even true. The Federal Reserve, the chairman is appointed by the president. What do you mean?
So Destiny's going to probably end up being one of these super hardcore coincidence theorists who's just not even going to entertain anything outside of his faith-based religious indoctrination because he's assuming and taking all these things on fact without researching it. A lot of these things that John Zherka is saying are admitted facts. You can go on government websites and read the terminology. Doesn't particularly interest me that much, but I did have to fact check a few people that brought that up, and they did have a case. The Federal Reserve is one tricky entity, not so simple. But again, Destiny can't even comprehend. His cognitive dissonance is too extreme, and his mental capacity too deficit to even entertain these ideas as true without believing them, just to understand the argument and move forward and make a logical point. He can't do it for some, he just can't do it.
What do you mean?
Okay, maybe I have a book I'm gonna send to you. All right, okay. But Destiny, history. You know that 90% of Russian technology was given by the U.S. There's no way you believe in this Cold War. You do?
That's John Zherka's position. He's assuming Destiny knows all these things and has done all this research. Yeah, clearly he hasn't been paying attention to Destiny's argument.
That they're competing? Really?
Okay, so the Cuban Missile Crisis, all of that shit, everything is all fake.
I mean, a lot of the stuff the government does is fake. Yeah, I mean, you agreed that Vietnam was a fake.
This is I think this is the first time I've ever won 2 debates back to back because not only is this fucking flat earth shit crazy,
appeal to incredulity, and also he's so self-deluded he thinks he's winning this debate. It's so funny. He's just this self-grandizing, extremely egotistical, not even, the Dunning-Kruger, this guy would be an excellent poster boy for Dunning-Kruger because he doesn't realize his deficit in his ability to understand, and he's just continuing as if he's right, which, it's pretty funny, so...
But now you're reinforcing my belief that religious people are fucking crazy too, which helps our earlier debates.
Whoa, do we have a little bit of projection there? Is he going to be a poster boy for psychological projection? Has his subconscious recognized that he's the one who's being crazy religious? Again, I'm not saying his final conclusion or he's sharing the same belief as the priest who might be correct. Let's say the heliocentric model is the correct model, just for a moment. He's religious in his ideology, regardless of whether it's about something that's true or not. And his subconscious has realized that now he's projecting. Again, very, very interesting to study psychology along with logic because you can see the interplay here working.
So I appreciate that, John.
Are you distracting the audience by calling me names?
How am I distracting anybody? You're telling me that there is a conspiracy theory that spans the history of mankind.
He never said that. So now, again, appeal to incredulity, appeal to extreme straw man fallacy. Just this huge stack. I mean, Destiny's like the king of fallacies now. It's pretty amazing. I actually did not expect this. This is really the worst defense I've ever seen.
History of mankind that every government agency has bought into. That they've all signed contracts with.
If I can interject, you said spans the dawn time. For most of human history and every culture and religion, they talked about a flat Earth with the stars inside a closed system. But up until the 1900s, you can see it's leaked all over dark web and Google that up until the 1900s, Russians were taught about flat Earth. This is a new concept. I know what you're trying to say.
I actually haven't seen that. That's interesting. John Zherka saying that you can find all this information on the dark web about flat Earth being taught in Russia. Well, that would be interesting if true.
Even Christopher, even in the time of Christopher Columbus sailing the Earth, even then they knew that the Earth was spherical.
Yeah, and he circumnavigated east to west, just like how the sun moves. What did he use? The North Star Polaris has not deviated even.
Okay, so John Zherka is assuming that Destiny's familiar with the model. Clearly, Destiny's not really familiar with anything. Logic, reason, science, nothing. And John Zherka's made this mistake throughout this whole debate. He needs to dumb it down a lot. If you're choosing to debate somebody after even the opening, after his opening argument, which is gigantic logical fallacy stack, John Zherka should have really adjusted his strategy here, because he's arguing as if he's arguing with someone well versed in flat earth theory. And of course, there's not really a single flat earth theory. There's so many different models. So he's just assuming that Destiny's going to know which one he's talking about. Yeah, not the ideal choice.
Inches off the sky for thousands of years. If you're flying through space, how come stars never intersect? Why do star trails always make perfect counterclockwise circles? It's because
the Earth is spinning on an axis, and those stars are so tremendously far away from us. We're not going to see them move through the sky.
The far away argument. If something is far away, that explains everything. I mean, that's kind of saying that's kind of like using millions of years in the evolution argument. Magically invoking time doesn't prove something true, no matter how much of a time you want to put on something. Are you going to believe that humans are all of a sudden going to grow 10 heads if the human species survives 10 billion years? It's kind of silly to just invoke time to magically explain everything. You have to actually explain whatever concept, whatever theory, you have to back it up scientifically and logically. And Destiny has not done that a single time. To be fair, John Zherka hasn't really done that either, but he made the smart choice to make Destiny defend his model instead of assert the flat model as true from the beginning. I'm not sure how this started, so maybe if that wasn't a mistake, maybe it was set up that way and Destiny wanted to defend the model. I don't know.
But you're not just spinning through an axis. The sun is moving too, so it's an acentric model where you're flying through space. So
wait, yeah. John Zherka, if you look up at the sun, and you walk around your apartment building, the sun's not going to move through the sky, dog. It's insanely fucking far away. It's
not going to move through the sky, dog. The sun does move through the sky. What are you talking about? What? On either model?
I don't really say it'll move through the sky. I'm saying for thousands of years, the North Polaris has not moved, right? So
yeah, because this is a star that's probably like hundreds of millions or light years away from us.
Okay,
why would we expect it?
Again, invoking distance. So if you see a car a whole bunch of blocks away, it'll still be there. It'll be there forever, even if you move, right? If you see an object far away, it'll just be there forever if it's far enough away.
To move.
And now we get to the mathematician part. Okay, perfect. So no. So you believe that the truth is subjective, where if it's thousands of light years away, time is perceived differently. We who believe in God believe there's one objective truth. That's God, right?
Oh man, don't invoke God. Because if Destiny doesn't, I don't know what Destiny's beliefs are. There are many people who are indoctrinated into scientism who also believe in God. So again, let's not create false dichotomies here. I don't know whether Destiny believes in God or not. Maybe he's going to say. But John Zherka saying that he believes in God and objective truth. I mean, science is all designed for objective truth, not subjective truth. So I have no clue what John Zherka is going on about here.
I have a question. If it takes, let's say, I mean, like, you don't want to talk about the Antarctic Treaty, right?
I don't think it's relevant to any of this.
Wait a second. The crux of the conspiracy that, if true, that there's a flat Earth is the Antarctic Treaty. In John Zherka's argument, so he's telling him he's not allowed to discuss the crux of the argument because he's saying if John Zherka, I haven't heard him assert this definitively, but if he believes in the, I guess, most popular flat Earth model, that would be Antarctica encircling the Earth on a flat plane or disk of some kind. And you wouldn't be able to prove that because you can't go to Antarctica, and Destiny's saying that's not relevant. It just seems like he doesn't know anything about it, and he's got his thumb in his face again. It just is just, this is rough.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think that because some countries have treaties around obscure parts of the world that they don't travel too much anyway, that proves flat Earth. No.
Okay.
Well, of course it doesn't prove flat Earth, but if it could prove flat Earth, wouldn't that be, I mean, if that's a puzzle piece, because if you could go there and prove that it's a globe or a flat plane, then that is, I mean, wouldn't that'd be one of the most relevant points?
No.
Okay, I'm not going to talk about flight trails. You discredit all the engineers and the airplane pilots that found the flat Earth through the dark web in 2004.
I'm going to go with the
All right, guys,
99.999% of engineers and pilots that believe that the Earth is
Closing
a sphere.
Okay, so he's going with the appeal to popularity fallacy. Clarified there, Destiny.
statements, gentlemen.
Cool.
It's the
Right,
end.
so,
Closing statements.
Destiny,
you
where
have
does-
very short amount of time, John. Go, please.
Destiny,
Closing
where
statement.
the word planet comes from the word plane. They added a T to confuse Destiny's dumbass because it's a motionless plane, right? What I'm trying to say is, if you look at how the horizon works, the higher you go, like all of the mathematics check out in my version, not yours. We have the
Well, well, this is a point I've made a few different times, that the human eye and perspective works the way that it works, and it would work the way that it would work on either a globe or a flat plane, regardless of a human's ability to understand it. So I'm not using that to make an argument. I'm saying in whatever model's true, if the human eye, if vision and perspective work the way they work, it could account for other variables. So both the flat earthers and the globe earthers use this circular reasoning argument where they're claiming certain principles of perspective as proving their model when it could prove either model.
we have the scientific method with curvature, with constellations, with everything. I don't know why you say we're crazy. You believe in water sticking to a ball when water always seeks its level. I mean, like, it's never been proven. The only time you measure gravity is outside of your realm of existence, because you say you have to leave low Earth orbit, you have to go to space, it has to be as big as Earth. You'll never find, if it's scientific method, you should be able to test it repeatable in nature, correct? So gravity is your God, it's your theory, it's a faith-based thing. There's a lot of things that are faith-based, but you're getting dominated. Go ahead.
I mean, I think we can summarize this whole debate with you saying that planet is plane with a T added at the end. Planet comes from an old Greek word, and it means wanderer, like wanders around the solar system, like isn't like heliocentric at the center of the fucking universe. I mean, we can talk about any of these water finds its level. I mean, like, these are all like the same conspiracy theorists that have been brought up and debunked a billion times in the past. I mean,
does water always seek its level? Has it ever stuck?
John Zherka actually missed an opportunity here. Wandering stars, yes, that was a principle by older civilizations that is against the terra firma theory of planets, because if there were celestial bodies, you go back through several different translations. Again, that doesn't mean it's not a planet, but they weren't specifically referred to as physical objects. So one of the arguments the flat earthers make in their cosmology is that these other so-called planets are not physical objects. They are lights in the sky or whatnot that are non-terra firma. So gas-based light, gas, light, whatever. I don't know the exact arguments they use, but again, if you're being objective, neutral, logical, scientific, you're not going to just dismiss a theory. But the wandering star, planets being wandering stars, do not go in favor of physical bodies because the words were changed. But anyway, John Zherka didn't jump on that.
Stuck to any triangle or ball ever in history.
I mean, if that triangle or ball is generating enough gravity to keep the water on it, then yeah,
Right,
it
right.
would.
And the only way you can measure gravity is on a planetary scale. So technically, you can't repeat that science. It's not real science. You can't do it in nature. You can't do it in a lab. Another thing, rainbows. If you look at how do you recreate with a scientific method a rainbow in a garage?
Wait,
Well, and I don't know why Destiny's kind of. It looks like Destiny's not that emotionally triggered at this point, so he's either mentally checked out because he's met his quota for trying to think for the day. Maybe it's too painful for him. But yeah, he should have jumped in there with experiments that prove gravity, repeatable experiments that prove gravity. He's just dead silent. So he doesn't seem to know any or invoke them because this is a chance to really jump on John Zherka. He's not taking it. Where are all the logical globe earthers? We need more globe earthers. This is making these flat earthers are just destroying these globe earthers in debate. And if the heliocentric model is true, this is just very embarrassing.
what do you mean we can't measure gravity? We've measured gravity all the time.
We measure gravity all the time and not cite a single example. Like, this is the problem. You can't expect a flat earther to believe statements like that. You do it all, yeah, you do it all the time. How is that proof? How is that a scientific argument?
We just agreed that it's on a planetary level. It has to
So?
be on a, so the scale cannot be repeated in nature.
What do you
get
mean?
it?
Like we can't make a planet? I mean, like you can look at if
Yes,
you want, we can look up
that's
videos.
me.
Wait, we can look up videos right now of astronauts in space that like pool water around a.
Okay, so now he's citing to the Bible. If John Zherka doesn't believe that that footage is real, so if you're arguing with someone on God, you cannot cite the Bible. They do not believe that that is the objective truth, the word of God, and representative of reality. So why would you use that? I mean, I think Destiny's pretty much hit every single fallacy and bad argument that you could possibly hit in a flat Earth debate here.
Ball and watch it like congeal there and float. I mean, we can look at the
you know
videos
what?
right
You
now
know
if you
what,
want.
Destiny? No,
Yeah.
we'll do it on your channel, and we'll send each other 2-3 videos for like 20 minutes. We'll debate. I have 20 minutes of my day for you. So what I'm trying to say, Destiny, is how do you recreate a rainbow in a garage? Rainbows are dome shaped because it is a dome. Nothing's left low Earth orbit. You recreate a rainbow in a garage with water vapor, a light source, and a glass dome. That's why sundogs, rainbows are dome shaped. They're not spherical in any sense.
But you can create a rainbow.
So I actually haven't heard that often. I don't believe flat earthers discuss rainbow that much because I guess not all flat earthers believe in the dome. So that the earth is an enclosed flat plane enclosed by a dome, because that opens up a whole another can of worms, because how big is the dome? Because it would have to be enclosed. So if it's not an infinite plane, that means we're talking finite plane enclosed by a dome. And now the rainbow argument, I'm not 100% sure how John Zherka is asserting that the rainbow with water and glass makes a rainbow, and you can't do it indoors or unless you have some kind of sunlight replicating, or some kind of light replicating the light of the sun and glass. I guess that's his argument. Now, I haven't really seen a lot of experiments on this. It would be interesting to see what's going on with rainbows. But again, just here with Destiny, you can immediately see that he's got triggered again here, and his cognitive dissonance is so extreme, he can't even consider that being true or due to a dome or a flat Earth, that his self-defense mechanisms, again, gearing up like crazy, cognitive dissonance just out the wazoo, because he's immediately scrambling to figure out how to make John Zherka wrong instead of trying to understand the information presented, which is, again, this is a staple of illogical globe earthers, which is, I think, we need a lot more logical globe earthers out there to debate, because otherwise these just super embarrassing scenarios will keep repeating.
You can create a rainbow. Hold on. Anybody that's ever been outside knows that you can create a rainbow without a glass dome anytime you want. If you turn a sprinkler on, you can see a rainbow appear. You don't need a glass dome for that.
Exactly. And how is the rainbow appearing in nature?
The rainbow appears in nature because when light passes through water, the water causes the different wavelengths to refract.
But
what do you mean?
The dome shape is being caused by the dome. That's why rainbows, small or large, are all reflecting off. If I asked you to recreate a rainbow in a garage,
first of all, it doesn't make a dome shape. It makes a spherical shape. A rainbow is a sphere.
It doesn't make it.
A rainbow is a sphere? Huh. I've never seen a spherical rainbow. What kind of rainbows Destiny's looking at? I'd be curious to see what kind of rainbows. I'm not a rainbow expert. So I don't know. Actually, this is pretty funny. They're both pretending to be experts in rainbows. I mean, I don't know. Maybe John Zherka. Maybe they are both experts in rainbows. I don't know.
Did you say a rainbow's a sphere?
Yeah, well, it's a circle technically because it's a two-dimensional plane, but
A rainbow's a circle? I've never seen a circular rainbow. I've seen an arch rainbow. Never seen a circular rainbow. That must look cool though.
do you disagree?
Do you want to lock that in, that a rainbow is spherical?
Have you ever seen a full rainbow before? Yeah, it is.
Just say for the
Yeah, a rainbow is like a spherical thing. Yeah.
Destiny looks kind of confused here. I looked up some pictures of full rainbows. It does, yeah, it looks kind of strange. There's some, if you look at rainbows in waterfall canyons, they are much bigger than a typical rainbow. They do go around to more of a sphere. But again, it's very difficult to tell how much of it is the lens flaring and all those things, because you'd have to see it in person. You'd have to see it in person to really know exactly what it looked like. But yeah, rainbows seem like an interesting field of study, particularly double rainbows. I wonder how flat earthers explain, or globe earthers explain double rainbows. Are there multiple domes if there's a dome?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard the gentleman speak. It's now time to vote.
Wow, they closed the debate with rainbows. That might be the only flat earth debate closed with rainbows where neither one of them really had a good explanation on why it would prove whatever model they believe in.
Hold on,
Please,
Raj,
God.
wait a second. What if the examples given in this very argument of Russia versus US and the conspiracy of the earth being flat being kept hidden for the US, what if all these propagandas, all these false wars, what if right now we are seeing that same brainwashing happening on a smaller relative level, where Zherka is Russia trying to speak the truth and Destiny is the US keeping the truth from being spoken? And this is a smaller model of the bigger model that we live in.
Holy
We're seeing
shit!
it unfold
Holy
as we
shit!
speak.
Holy shit!
Holy fuck!
What kind of squad W cocaine is that, Raj? Whoa!
Dude,
Whoa.
did you see this?
Whoa!
This is why I advocate for education reform in the United States, because holy fucking shit. Oh,
Is that more projection? Because Destiny didn't make a single lie. He just had fallacy after fallacy after fallacy, and none of his arguments actually supported how that would prove his version of reality, the model that he chose based on faith, not science, and he doesn't even understand what the scientific method is or what logic is, and then he's talking about education reform. I mean, good point, because, yeah.
oh my god.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Catch that, Raj?
you have heard
Holy
from both
shit.
sides.
Whoa!
It's now time to vote who you
Oh,
want to
and
win the Raj.
hang on. Destiny.
Yeah.
Just to show you, we have the scientific map and everything, but what is the United Nations flag if not our flat Earth map?
Oh, you got it, dude.
Oh man, that was not a good point by John Zherka. Because if you can't go to Antarctica and you can't go to the edge of the, I mean, maybe people, if the model is true and they did go to the edge of the dome and they did map it as the flat Earth map and they used it as the UN as a kind of occult symbolism, haha, in your face, or it's just the sphere map that way. Yeah, not a good way to close it, Johnny.
They snuck it in there.
I mean, if they fooled you.
Now look, the winning poll, gentlemen who are watching the poll, please do not click the link and look at the results. I want to announce it to you. Vote, chat, who you want to win the Raj Royale podcast.
One quick question though for Zherka, okay? So if the Earth's flat, is there an end that we'd fall off?
Yeah, I'll ask the same question to you. Where's the edge of space?
What? The universe is literally defined as everything in existence. There can't be an edge to everything.
Exactly. So until we can actually go to Antarctica, I know it's a treaty, it's militarized zone, but we're either dealing with a infinite plane.
Have you ever been on like an international flight before?
Oh man, really, Destiny? How would an international flight prove either model?
So weird that you guys disagree with me, because Admiral Byrd, the first person to explore Antarctica in front of a flat Earth map, was interviewed these questions, the clips on YouTube. I just find it so weird how you guys go against Admiral Byrd, you know?
Why would he find that weird if they never heard the interview? Come on, John Zherka, you can't assume that these people did the research. Clearly they didn't. So, and again, that doesn't mean that what he said was true. He could have been a shill. I mean, there's infinite variables here that would account for either model, and that's why these logical analyses are so endlessly entertaining, because none of it really proves either model.
I mean, I find it so weird how you would go against literally, 15 different scientific disciplines.
You mean government propaganda?
All education now is government propaganda?
No,
Wait, here's a question. John, I got a real question for you. Real question. If the government propaganda is so strong that we have multiple countries, we've got multiple academic fields, we've got multiple institutions of education, all these people are all bought in for 200, 300 years or whatever, all bought into this flat earth shit, however many years it's been, right? Why wouldn't they just delete the flat earth shit off the internet?
Before I would tackle that, I do want to hear John Zherka's response for that.
Well, that's the thing. When you search up flat Earth, you don't get the stuff that I research.
You do.
No. You get a disc flying through space. You get flat Earth Society bullshit. You don't get the scientific method. The shit that I'm into is you'll never find it.
All right, so, I mean, what do you mean never find it? You can find whatever. But anyway, he is right about the certain censoring. But yeah, just quick point here, controlled opposition. So again, having the truth out in the public and ridiculed, I mean, these have been the tactics in conspiracies for a long time. You want the truth out there and ridiculed, like the flat earth. We don't have time for a meeting of the flat earth society. Like when you have something out there and ridiculed, because also you have things that really are ridiculous and not true out there and ridiculed, which is, again, that's why it's so effective. Because the average layperson, they're never going to take something seriously that's been ridiculed for so long. Like even the word conspiracy theorist, the propaganda has been so strong for so long. I mean, what's the difference between a conspiracy theorist and a critical thinker? Again, we tackled this topic on previous podcasts, where I'm not talking about the dogmatic conspiracy theorists that 100% believe every single conspiracy. I'm talking about just the people that question, just the people that employ logic, reason, and scientific method. They don't buy official stories if there's too many anomalies or coincidences, whereas the hardcore coincidence theorists like Destiny, they'll never accept anything other than the official controlled narrative. So they'll never even consider the possibility that the conspiracy is true. But once again, hiding the truth in plain sight as ridiculed material has been a very successful strategy for a long time.
Nobody will ever find it.
Then how the fuck did you find it?
Well, that's the thing. Before it got deleted, I was looking into, it was a Joe Rogan podcast. I said, Eddie Bravo is such an idiot. I looked into it and I realized, my God, they have the scientific method. They have engineers in the Discord. They have airplane pilots. There's no way Destiny could beat 300,000 airplane pilots in one group.
Do you see what my country has become, Manuel? This is what we live with in the United States. These are the people that vote for Trump, by the way. This is what my fucking country is like, all right?
I'm in Canada. I'm in Canada, bro.
Your country, Manuel's
my continent. Sometimes we drift a little bit north. And
Dude, I've got to say, Raj, I've got to say right now.
I can't even vote for Trump.
Go ahead, Train.
I've got to say to both Zherka and Destiny, this right here, what I just witnessed, I will confidently say is the best content I have ever experienced in the last 2 years I've been on Twitch, and that is
a flat Earth debate.
Dude, this was amazing. I haven't been more entertained. I could listen to this for another 2 hours happily with a smile on my face. This was amazing, and I hope this goes on. I love this. I can't. Dude, this was amazing. Amazing.
It will go on Destiny's podcast once a week. Destiny and I are gonna go at it.
Thank you, Train. I appreciate it. Thank you, Destiny. Now,
wait, somebody just linked like a picture of somebody.
So it's pretty funny in the comment section. They think that John said everything that John said was wrong, but he still won the debate. even the people that think John's an idiot for believing all the conspiracy theories, just on a debate, just looking at the debate logically, they still think that he completely destroyed destiny, which is what I find hilarious about all of these flat Earth debates, because it's really, really funny. So yeah, that was probably the poorest defense of the globe model. Not a great debate on John Zherka's flat Earth side either. A lot of missed opportunities there. But yeah, all in all, we got to see a lot of logical fallacies on display. We got to see a lot of horrible arguments on the side of the heliocentric model. So hopefully we'll get a lot more logical globe earthers willing to debate out there, because otherwise the flat earthers, there's just going to be more and more and more of them. And if the flat Earth really is the correct model, then that's perfectly fine. But if it's not, I mean, what kind of problems are people going to encounter then? So, but hope you enjoyed another edition of the MINDSHOCK podcast in this logical analysis of a flat Earth debate, Destiny versus John Zherka. If you like the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. If you like the podcast, hit the like button and share it across social media platforms. Any questions, comments, theories, debunkings, suggestions, points you want to make, leave them in the comment section for discussion. And you can also check us out Twitter, Reddit, and Patreon, as well as Facebook. This is Bruce McGuire signing off. Catch you guys next time.